Alright, hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle here. Hope everyone is enjoying the nice weather. This is a video for the Fort Minor Project. A few days ago, I made a video posting of an idea I thought of doing, like, personal videos making personal videos for subscribers, and like I answer all of their questions and whatever they want me to, talk about, my thoughts and opinions on certain things. They put it in the video. They'll ask me the questions, and I'll make a personal video specifically answering all their questions for that particular subscriber. Now I left it up for a few days to see, how many things I was going to get. Only one person left, and that was Fort Minor Project. So thank you, Fort Minor Project, for leaving all of your questions. Because if it wasn't for you, well, I wouldn't have this video to make. So this lets me know that the idea that I had for this, which I thought was pretty cool, a good idea, I thought at least. It's a flop. So this will be the first and probably last personal video I would make for a specific subscriber, which was the Fort Minor Project, which is kind enough to put these questions on the video. So thank you, Fort Minor Project, for listing your questions, and so I was going to get right to it. So your first question you have for me is, what do I own in my wrestling collection? Probably, the typical thing people or an average wrestling fan would own, wrestling DVDs, which I did do. I did do that was actually my first video I did on this channel, was my wrestling DVD collection. I may do an updated version of doing that, because I've accumulated so many other wrestling DVDs since then. So, wrestling DVDs. I'm trying to get back into collecting the figures. I have a few wrestling figures. I have quite a few wrestling replica belts, championship belts. Quite a few of them need to be re-leathered, but that costs money. And so just DVDs, video games, wrestling video games. A few figures I'm trying to get back into collecting. And some replica belts that I own is what I have in my wrestling collection. The next question here for me is, what are my first memories of being a wrestling fan? What are my first memories of being a wrestling fan? I don't know if I would say if it was like a memory of being a wrestling fan. Is it just as me just being getting into wrestling? And that was when I was 5 years old. I clearly remember like it was yesterday, at least part of it. My mom grew up as a big wrestling fan, and she still is. And she used to own footage of old NWA wrestling shows and pay-per-views and whatnot. And one of the earliest memories of a wrestling fan, I believe, was it was the old NWO footage of Ric Flair in the ring, and I want to say it was Ric Flair against somebody. I'm not sure. I want to say it was Sting, but I don't think it was. But at that time, Ric Flair, I thought was a cool dude, cool wrestler. I mean, he was old to me. He's old as dust, but he could still wrestle, and I just love his flashiness and his, him talking and stuff. The way he would cut promos and how he's just very loud and just so entertaining. So I would say that was probably not only my first early moment of being a wrestling fan, but just starting to become a wrestling fan. Because when I saw the sport, it's like, oh wow, these guys are fighting. Which at the time I thought was real, but still just saying the athleticism and things of that sort. It was amazing. But that's when I became a big wrestling fan. That's probably one of my earliest memories of being 5, almost going on 6, as a wrestling fan. And then once I watched some footage from NWA, then that's when I got into the WCW, WWF, ECW. And even during those moments, I can't even think of a time WCW, ECW, WWF where it's man, makes me feel I mean, I've had moments of where I just jumped out of my seat. I remember clearly when Goldberg won the WCW title. Jumped out of my seat for that. What were some other moments? Staying at Starrcade. I remember jumping out of my seat for that. Austin winning at the championship at Mania 15 against Michaels. That was another awesome memory. One recent memory, I would probably say though, but instead of saying the earliest memory, my earliest memory is what I said with Ric Flair. But what I would say was probably my most recent best memory of being a wrestling fan, where it brought me back in remembrance of, you know, the same feelings I had, like, you know, as a kid growing up and through high school watching wrestling. And that was last year at Money in the Bank. I was there live here in Chicago. CM Punk, for anybody who's watched any of my videos, everyone knows I've followed Punk's career going back to 2000 in IWA, all the way up to currently in WWE. And just the storyline, the crowd was hot. The entire pay-per-view from top to bottom was a solid show. But then you get to the main event, like I said, Punk, hometown guy, and the story that had led up to that moment was just absolutely phenomenal. It was a lightning in a bottle opportunity. That was just like a really good feeling of being a wrestling fan. And then when Punk won the WWE Championship after you thought Vince was going to screw him over, I mean, that was just like, wow. And that feeling just like reminded me of like why I'm a wrestling fan, because of moments like that. And it reminded me, and remembering, you know, it rehashed a lot of the old wrestling feelings that I've had, you know, through wrestling, you know, years prior, years before. It was just moments like that. Your next question you asked for me is, who are my favorite singers, male or female, of all time and currently now? Well, as far as the male category goes, favorite male singer of all time, Michael Jackson, hands down. He's an influence in, well, not only music I make, but music that every other artist makes. That man was just a fudging beast. I enjoyed Michael's music. Absolutely loved it. He planned on going to his tour when he was making his comeback, but unfortunately, fate had other plans. Favorite male singer currently, I'd say Usher, because Usher was like the male vocalist from my generation growing up. But like, I don't know, some of Usher's latest stuff has been kind of like, I don't know. I just haven't been getting into it. But I'd probably say Chris Brown. I enjoy a lot of Chris Brown's music. He makes really good dance music. I mean, you cannot listen to one Chris Brown music and not want to at least tap your feet. But yes, that's Chris Brown. Female, let's see. As far as female goes, I might have to say maybe Mariah Carey. It's like, you know, because she's a legend. She has some serious pipes. She has some really good songs, really good hits. So top of my mind, I'll say Mariah Carey. Currently, really aren't too many current female artists I particularly care for, but if I had to choose one, I'd probably say Rihanna. Her music is pretty good as well. Your next question is, what do I think about the Divas and Knockout divisions? Flat out, hands down, the Divas division of WWE it's dead. I mean, just, it's dead. Kelly right now is on break. You know, she's taking a long vacation, and it's been rumors speculating that she might even leave WWE and not renew her contract. The Bellas left last month, and it's not like it was just one wrestler, but it was just two. So they lost two Divas at once, being the Bella Twins. And then, like, all you have really now are Alicia Fox, Beth Phoenix, Layla, and, like, that's it. Those are, like, the only three Divas you see on TV. Eve doesn't really count because she's, like, an on-screen character, not going to use her as a wrestler anymore, pretty much. And AJ doesn't really count either because AJ they use as, you know, an on-screen character, doesn't solo feud with Punk and Bryan. And Natalya, whatever happened to her? I mean, really. So the Divas division is really just, it's in a mess. It's ridiculous. the matches that they do give the Divas last like 2 minutes. This past, was it Raw or I think it was SmackDown? It's past SmackDown. Beth Phoenix got into a match with Alicia Fox for like 1 minute and 15 seconds. They went on commercial from like a segment or something, came back, showed a 1 minute 15 second Divas match between Beth and Alicia, and then went right back to commercial again. I mean, just the time that the women get is just absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, your only top 2 Divas right now are AJ and Eve, because they get the most TV time out of anybody, and they're not even wrestling. So I mean, like, what does that tell you? I think that's pretty messed up. As for the knockouts, I think the knockouts, very strong in TNA. They kind of a little rough patch a little bit. I would say probably in the middle of last year. But once they added Gail Kim, they kind of build up the rest of the division around Gail Kim. I think the knockouts are solid. They're strong. They're having good matches. They're having quality matches worth, a good amount of time. Way better and much better than what WWE is doing with their women division. So I'm pretty proud of the knockouts. I don't think they really need to add anybody. A few people I think they need to rotate in and out. I think they may rotate Gail Kim out, because Gail Kim's supposed to be getting married, so she might want to take some time off and stuff like that. So bring in Angelina Love. I mean, Gail Kim is important, to the knockouts division, because she was not only the first, but also the longest reigning champion in that division. But you also have Angelina Love, who has won the knockouts title more than anybody. She's like a 3 or 4 time champion. So I think she's, a pretty important addition to the knockouts. So if they take out Gail Kim and Gail Kim takes a break, which looks like they may do, bring in Angelina Love, just kind of rotate the knockouts in and out, keep them fresh and stuff like that. So I think the knockouts are pretty solid. What do I think about Mickie James? My thoughts on Mickie James overall. Well, first, Mickie James is smoking hot. 2, she's smoking hot. And 3, she's a good wrestler. I consider Mickie James, I would put her on the level of a Trish Stratus, or, Tori Wilson as being one of the greatest divas or female wrestlers of all time. She's had good matches. She's won a ton of championship belts multiple times in both WWE and TNA. So you put them together, she's like a 7 or 8 time women's champion, which is a pretty sweet resume. I think she's a good wrestler. I don't know, for some reason, I think since she's been in TNA, I think her work has kind of been a little bit sloppy. It's not as how do I say, like, fluid or, precise as it's been in WWE. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's because, she feels like, she doesn't have to put that much effort into her matches. I mean, she still has had good matches, but probably during her first year and a half, I would say Mickie James some of her stuff has been kind of sloppy and a little botchy with some of the knockouts, rather than, which is stuff I haven't seen when it came to when she wrestled in WWE with the Divas. And it could be 2 different ring styles. I don't know. Maybe she has to wrestle more aggressively in the knockouts division rather than, when she was a diva in WWE. But I love Mickie James. She's one of my top divas of all time. Brutus Magnus is a lucky man. I'll tell you that. And then your last question you have for me is what are my thoughts on Christian's return, and what do I want to see from him next? I'm glad Christian's back, because I think the roster in WWE and the talent pool is spread very thinly. So it's good to have a good veteran to come. That's with Christian. What I want to see from Christian next, I mean, I'm fine with the position that he's at right now. IT champ. I think him and Cody can have a great feud, going at least throughout to SummerSlam. But I would really like to see Christian back up into the main event spot, and get another world title, and a world title that's lengthy and that actually means something. I think him winning the world titles that he won last year twice was just WWE giving him a bone because of he's a veteran, so here's your reward, and because of who you were associated with, which was Edge. So, I think Christian needs to be back up in that main event spot. I said it before, if he came back, I would love to see him in a main event spot feud against CM Punk. I think that would be awesome. They had a really good match on SmackDown last year. So I think they can have an incredible match. Imagine they had a incredible match on a higher scale, pay-per-view or, the place card or story. So I would love to see Christian get back up in that main event spot. And especially now, since with the suspensions of Randy Orton and Chris Jericho, the main event talent pool is pretty thin. Because all you have, and on top of that, Del Rio being injured too with concussion. Because all you have now are Sheamus, John Cena, CM Punk. Like, those are only 3 main event spot guys. So, I would definitely love to see Christian back up in that main event spot, especially now more than ever since the other 3 guys I mentioned are out of it. So, yes, I'd like to see Christian as champion one more time, world champion, and have at least a 3-month reign. I mean, if he has a 3-month reign, I'd be fine with that. But he hasn't even had that. His first reign lasted a day or 2 days. Well, 5 during the TV time because SmackDown was taped, but 2 days realistically. And then his other reign lasted a month? Yeah, because he won at Money in the Bank, but then he lost at SummerSlam. So that's like a month. So, at least give him a 3-month reign. I'd be happy if WWE did that. So, thank you, Fort Minor Project, for answering all your questions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I answered all of your questions to the best of my abilities. So peace out.